Well, this has been a nice evening escape. Thanks for dinner.
You're welcome, Roborally. I really enjoyed it as well.
I normally don't do this on the first date, but maybe you can come to my place to have some dessert?
Oh, well, I wouldn't mind some dessert. You're welcome, baby.
Yeah, well, I should have expected only 10 minutes from you.
I know, but aren't those 10 minutes just great?
Sure, it felt as if you were in different places at once. But was that soundtrack really necessary?
It was, babe. It was. Good night.
Oh, well, that was some great fireworks.
Hey folks, welcome back. This is my first preview and today I will be talking about Bomb Squad, a game by Dan Keltner and David Short, which is currently on Kickstarter. There are still 5 days left, so if you think it's something for you, don't hesitate and go take a look, and maybe you will back it as well. The game is already completely funded, but there are some very interesting stretch goals still to reach. For example, an extra game included in this box, so that will be great. Alright, Bomb Squad is a cooperative game where 2 to 6 players are members of a team operating a disposal robot. And his mission is to disarm bombs and save hostages. As you can see here, we have 2 bombs in this playthrough and we have 4 hostages. In this example, we have chosen for training mission Bravo, which tells us which tiles we have to use, which robot we have to use, and what we have to do to have success. It also tells us that bomb A will explode after 8 minutes and bomb B after 60 minutes. So this is one of the things that makes this game very exciting. We play with a timer, so there is some pressure in this game and it's really fun. This is Felix, that's the robot that is in the print and play version which I am using. And a robot says how much main battery he starts with, what his maximum battery is, and how many reserve battery he has. So that's something I've already done. I've set the main battery on 12, the reserve battery at 8. Players lose this game when one of the bombs explodes before it can be detonated, before it can be disarmed, or when the reserve battery goes down to 0 and our robot cannot work anymore. So, how are we going to do this? Well, we first start by putting everything on the board, starting our timer, and then the start player is going to have choice between 4 different actions. So, a player in his turn can give intel to a player, discard a card to recharge a battery, play a card, or activate the robot. So, how do you give intel to another player? And most importantly, why do you give intel to another player? In this game, you will be using the Hanabi mechanic. So, which means players start with a number of cards in their hand, depending on the number of players. In this case, for 3 or 4 players, you'll be having 5 cards in your hand, but the cards will be faced away from you. So, you cannot see what you have. All other players know the cards you are holding in her hand, but they don't know which cards they're holding in their hand themselves. So for this example, I will be turning this around. So in this case, maybe another player is holding these cards and it's my turn. So I can take an action to give intel to this player. When giving intel, you have to give one clue to him, and that can be a color or a card attribute, you can say. And you have to show them all. For this example, I could tell this player that these two cards both are movement cards. I cannot say that they are red or yellow, but I can only say those two are movement cards. So that player can choose to put the cards a little bit different, so he can try to remember what I said about those cards. And in a later turn I can give another clue. So I could say, well, these three cards are red cards. So if he has a decent memory, he will now know this card is red. A second action a player can do is to play one of these cards into the programming area. As you can see here, you have 7 slots where you can program cards. So he could say, like this of course, I am going to program this card and put it here in the row. After he's done that, he takes a new card, puts it in his hand without looking at it, and that's back to 5 cards in his hand. So, what else can a player do? The third thing he can do is to recharge a battery. After a while, the battery of the robot will start to deplete, and you have to recharge it. When doing that, a player can announce 1 or 2 attributes of a card, announce he's going to discard the card, and see if he was right about the attributes. So in this case, for example, if the player says, I'm going to discard this red card, he discards the card. If it's really a red card, you will gain 1 more battery. If the player says, well, I'm discarding this red door, even better, you have both attributes right, and you can add 2 to your battery. If a player says something wrong, so like I discard this yellow door but it's a red door, you don't get a penalty, but you're also not getting any recharging of the battery done. So he takes a new card and the next player's turn goes. The fourth action a player can do is to activate a robot. So after a while there will be some cards here. Let me see if I can do something interesting with it. Alright, so for example, players have programmed 4 cards here, and it's my turn and I decide to activate the robot. As soon as it's done, we turn around every card that's programmed here, and the player whose turn it is can discuss together with the other players how they will use the cards, but he has the final decision. So in this case I might do something like this, and I will pay some battery. So in this case this action would cost 7 battery, so I lower it to 0 and I will move 1, 2, 1 more, and I save a hostage. So that would be a good job. All the cards you have used are discarded and the next player starts his turn again. So players are going to give each other clues, going to try to save the hostages, disarm the bombs, open the doors, and before the timer runs out, disarm both bombs, save all hostages, and win the game. So that's about it. There's of course many more things to this game. You have some role cards you can use, so you have special ability. You have all these different kinds of missions with all their extra success criteria. You have 3 colors you can combine, so it's a very interesting game, very tense. And well, if you love Hanabi, if you love Robo Rally, if you love Escape, if you love those games together in one, this game might be something for you. So check it out on Kickstarter. You have 5 days left, maybe less if you're watching this later. And well, I see you in the next video, so bye bye.